Hey guys, and welcome to Holy Yoga today. I'm really grateful that you're here, that you've carved out this time to flow and to meditate and to just spend this time with God. Really glad you're here. So today we're going to be using a playlist on my website. I like to have it on my phone separately, like I've got the video on my computer, but completely optional if you want a playlist. So on my website, the one we're using today, it's reviveyogastudio.com, and under the Join a Holy Yoga, Live Holy Yoga Class tab, we're using Holy Yoga playlist number 3. So you can go ahead and take a moment to cue that up, and you can just go ahead and press play whenever you're ready. And then once you've got that queued up, you can just go ahead and take a comfortable seated position on your mat. Whatever that looks like for you today, just go ahead and get comfortable. And close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. So whatever seated position you've taken, you can make sure your sits bones, so like the bony part of your butt, is just really grounded into the mat. So for me, I kind of like to just reach under my bottom and grab like the fascia and kind of pull it aside. And that just allows like really whatever your body type looks like, we all could use that. Just a little bit, moving some of that fascia out of the way so you can really feel your sits bones on the mat. And that's just going to allow us, when we take these few moments of breath practice, to just really get grounded into the earth. Which will really benefit us as we get into a lot of our standing postures. It'll help our alignment. So just maybe play around with that today. And then take those palms open in whatever comfortable seated position you've found. Closing the eyes if that's comfortable. And just start to notice your breath. As you breathe, begin to take your awareness to those sits bones, just grounding you to the earth. And just start to notice, perhaps if you're not used to kind of moving some of the fascia out of the way and really focusing on those sits bones into the mat, just start to notice maybe what feels different in your body than the way you might normally just start out on your mat. Not judging it as good or as bad, but just noticing. And then as you breathe into your heart. So you want to breathe into the top of our chest. If you want to put one of your hands just over the center of your chest, go ahead and do that, and that can help. As you inhale, try to push the hand up. And exhale, relax into it. Inhale again, and as your inhale fills up the chest, allow that inhale to carry the spine a little taller as some energy comes out at the top of the head. And just release into it, so keeping on to that length, but relaxing a bit. Then on your next inhale, we're going to repeat that. However, we want to take the breath, instead of focusing on the front of the chest, we want to focus on the back. So imagine with your eyes closed that you're breathing into the back, so like the back part of your rib cage. Let your lungs, just imagine that oxygen as your lungs rise with your inhale, just filling up that back space. Notice how it makes the surface area of the back of the shoulders just spread. And just start to enjoy the breaths, the noticings of like just what's happening in your body. And continue in that, and I'll begin setting us up with our intention of the day. So today we're doing something slightly different than we normally do in my classes. We often do scripture meditation, or like a lectio divina on scripture. And that's one of my absolute favorite contemplative prayer practices. But today we're going to move into another contemplative prayer practice that believers have been using, for centuries. And it's been a really beautiful thing. And it's been blessing my soul a lot recently, and I'm expectant to see how the Holy Spirit just truly meets you, and with His sure presence with you in it. So it's called the Examen, and yeah, we're just going to really focus in on God. So if this is new to you, I just want to invite you to go with me, and really less honestly with me on this journey, but more to go with God on this journey of prayer and this journey of noticing. And we're going to look at our day and the things that we do and just notice God there. So even though we're not going to have a scripture focus today, I rest assured that our focus is still very much the Lord, that we are looking at Him and resting in the fact that His love and His presence is with us, and expectantly opening ourselves to receive what that looks like in our day. So keep those eyes closed. If you've just gently let them open, return them to close, just nice and easy. Just become aware of God's presence with you, which is much easier said than done some days. And whether that's a physical sensing of the God's presence with you, or in faith, just believing and acknowledging that God says that He's surely with you and that He abides with you, and so He is with you in this moment. And now look back on your day. For me, this is midday, a time I really enjoy using this prayer, but it's wonderful any time of the day. So just look back on your day and recall the events of your day so far. I mean, even down to waking up in bed, and just whatever has come in your day since then. And just with God, just start to acknowledge what those things have been. And now, ask God, ask His Spirit to give you eyes to see and ears to hear from His mouth in those very things, as ordinary, as minute as so many of them may have been. How was God's physical presence, how was His love intertwined and woven into those happenings of your day so far? Just ask God to show you Himself there. Now, we're going to get moving and warming up here, but if you want to stay in this space and continue just considering this prayerfully with God and some stillness, please take that space and join up with us when you're ready. However, if you're ready to get moving, just go ahead and gently flutter those eyelids open and make your way into a tabletop position. I'm just starting cat-cows, as we often do. So inhale takes you up into your cow. And exhale, round it out into your cat, pushing the hands into the mat. Belly button pushes toward the spine. And just letting your inhale and exhale be the thing that starts your movement. Just cycle through a few cat-cows. And if you're familiar with my classes or yoga at all, this is probably a pretty familiar warm-up to you. Taking some variations of rolling through the rib cage, if that feels helpful to you. Just whatever variation of this feels nice. But as we look back on our day, what's probably been a lot of ordinary things, And we prayerfully ask God to help us see and sense his presence and his love in those things. Let's just begin almost warming up in the same way, in a very ordinary way. Acknowledging that there's value in the ordinary things because God is in the ordinary things. Finding stillness and a neutral spine when you're ready. Flip the toes and push up into your first downward facing dog of the day. Just being really generous with your body as you warm up. So maybe that looks like really bent knees for this first one. Or start walking out the dog, just taking one leg straight and the other bent, alternating. Maybe it's just taking some gentle shifts through the body as you breathe. That's just up to you. What does your body need as you warm up today? On your next inhale, come to the tips of your toes. Exhale, bend the knees and look forward. And we'll step the top of our mat in a forward fold. And exhale, just let that head hang. Just let the head be heavy. Shake it yes, no, and yes. Just breathing here. Let your next inhale bring you into a halfway lift. Hands come to the shins. The shoulders and collarbone are smiling open. And release. Bend the knees and roll up through a very long inhale. And those arms come up and overhead. And exhale, the hands to prayer, thumbs over the heart. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to be with you, to move and to steward our bodies well. And even more importantly, to commune with you. Lord, we look back at our days, we will look forward at our days in hopeful expectation that you say that you are with us, and so you are. And Lord, where we might have unbelief, we confess, we believe, help our unbelief. All present God, our God who reveals himself to us, help us to see you and to believe even that you're there when we don't see how you are there. Change us and just transform us. Stir up love in us as we spend this time with you. Amen. When you're ready, flutter those eyes open. We'll inhale the arms overhead again. Exhale, flat back forward. Inhale, halfway lift. We're just going to move through a sun salutation A. So if you're familiar with that, you can go ahead and take it in your own breath. Exhale, release. Or you can move with me in my cueings if this is unfamiliar to you. Either way, just take what feels right for your body. Exhale, take that tricep push-up all the way to the mat. Flip the toes and inhale up to cobra. Exhale takes you back to that downward facing dog. Belly buttons toward the spine. Tailbone is slightly dropped here, so not pointing high. Those hips push high, but the tailbone itself just gently falls toward the mat. Inhale to the tips of the toes. Bend the knees and look forward. You can step or hop to the top of your mat in your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Let's reverse that flat back all the way up. Exhale, the hands to prayer, thumbs come over the heart. Just taking a moment to recenter. Perhaps recalling just one of those events for the day that have happened so far. And just asking God, how were you present here? How was your love woven into this? When you're ready, we're gonna drop into a chair. So heel toe, those toes together. Want those heels to be about an inch apart. Toes are together, and then you'll have a bit of space between the knees. And then set those hips really far back. The collarbones smile open, so the shoulder blades are coming together on the back. Three more breaths. Let that last exhale pull you into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Finding that same opening through the shoulders here. Exhale, release. Plant the hands on either side of the feet. Step or hop back into your high plank. Now, option to take this tricep push-up all the way to the mat and pull up into cobra, or chaturanga push-up so you're an inch above the mat and push up into your up dog. If you feel any compression in the lower back, either focus on just elongating, so pulling that heart forward, or maybe just take a little less. Just being loving to your body. If you feel pain, pulling back. Inhale to the tips of your toes. As you exhale, bend the knees and look forward. Step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Let's flat back up again. Palms come together in prayer. Just taking another breath, another moment to recall one of those parts of your day. Even something as little as an ordinary as making breakfast. How were you present in that cup? How was your love woven in there? And continue that conversation with God as we drop into another chair. Checking in on those feet and the knees, shifting the hips back. And when you're ready, we're gonna take a twist here. So let's go to the left first. The right tricep's gonna come across. I like to take a fist to start on the bottom and an open palm on the top is gonna press on that fist. And the temptation is for this left hip and this knee to kind of pull back with you. You're gonna keep those knees in line. As you push up and take the twist, the knees and hips are fighting to stay where they are. You can keep the hands here or open, taking quite a bit of pressing in with this bottom arm into the left leg. Breathing, taking to the other side when you're ready. So now it's the left tricep to the right quad, fist on the bottom, palm presses into that fist to twist. Trying not to round in, but we want to have a nice straight spine. So energy out of the crown of the head shoots out in front of the mat. Opening the arms. If that feels good, if not, keep the fist and the palm there. Both are great variations of this pose. And release. Just 2 breaths in your chair here. Really building a lot of heat, firming up through the legs. And release. And go ahead and take 5 breaths here into your forward fold. Really focusing on the crown of this head, just getting heavy to the mat. Just breathing here. Giving the quads a bit of a break as you just stretch forward. Bending the knees as much as you need. Now we're gonna step back slightly into triangle. So this left leg, let's have that step back first. So it's just slightly, we're not going into like a full lunge, but just about halfway, and turn the toes out. They can either have a warrior 2 or more. I sometimes prefer more of a warrior 1. But here, that's up to you. Listen to your back knee. That'll tell you what degree of rotation to have. And so from here, we're gonna take that link that we just created, that long forward fold. So keeping a nice long spine, we're gonna move up into triangle. So now back, bottom hand is against the shin, and then open up. You'll feel if you need to adjust, maybe taking that triangle a little wider, a little shorter. We want to have a triangle right here. So it's between arm, bottom side body, and the front leg. So opening up. And this right hip, push it slightly forward. Release coming out of that. You can step it right back into that forward fold again. Now inhale, halfway lift. Hold for 3 breaths. You can lift the toes off the mat. That helps you to keep your hips in a nice alignment. Release. Step back the right foot into that triangle now. Taking, again, listening to the back knee on how far to rotate that back foot, and then open it up when you're ready. And now this time it's this left hip that's gonna push slightly forward as you open up. Being gentle with the body, that we often in my class have a lot of other standing postures before we move into triangle. So just noticing perhaps how this feels different in your body at a different point in our class than we might be used to. Not trying to push to meet the shape that we might normally have, but just making the pose meet us where we're at. Release when you're ready, returning into that forward fold. Just one cleansing breath here. Next inhale brings you into a halfway lift. And release, plant the hands, step or hop back into your high plank. Optional vinyasa through or meet in downward facing dog. Breathing here. And when you're ready, we're gonna move into a 3-legged dog. The right heel is gonna rise. So toes are flexed down toward the mat. Right heel is toward the ceiling. You can take a moment to open up that hip, bend the knee, if that is a welcome part of your practice. If it is, go ahead and rotate through the ankle, through the hip, just making sure you do both directions. And then inhale that leg high back into your 3-legged dog. Next exhale, pull the knee into the chest through a high plank. Inhale takes it high. Exhale, right knee, right tricep. Inhale it high. Right knee, left shoulder. Inhale it high. And last time, pull the knee in through the chest and quietly set it down into a low lunge. Just taking a quick breath before we set up into warrior 2. Setting up that back foot, pushing the pinky side of that back foot into the mat, and windmill it up, warrior 2. And breathing into the pose. Try flipping the palms up. Just noticing how that is different in your body. Your next inhale, take it into a forward side angle. So this front forearm is on the front leg. You can reach either up or the arm can come overhead. Invitation, if you'd like to take an inhale to extend this bottom arm, but only if you'd like, doing what's best for your practice today. And then when you're ready, we're gonna rotate this back around into a low lunge. And find a bit of an up dog chest here. Then if you're ready, you can inhale into, we're gonna take a little airplane. So 45-degree angles with the chest. Those arms can come back. They can stay at prayer, wherever you would prefer. And when you're ready, we're gonna move into a balance on this front leg. So we're gonna create some buoyancy off this back foot. And when you're ready, pull the knee in. Hands will come to the hips, specifically the right hand to the right hip. Now, invitation here, there's a few options. You can either stay here and just challenge the balance, grabbing underneath this knee. Now, option 2, just challenge that balance. Option 1 there. Option 2 is to keep this leg bent. And while keeping a nice straight spine, work on taking a bit of a forward fold here. You'll feel the shift of strength in that hamstring in the standing leg. Or option 2 will be to take peace fingers to the big toe of this extended leg. Extend. This hamstring of mine has been kind of locking me out lately. So really just listen to your body and genuinely do what it's inviting you to do, not pushing past. Now, if you extend here, pulling into a forward fold. Just breathing into whatever variation of that feels best. If you want to come to a wall, you're at home and you have the flexibility to move around maybe more in a normal class, and take that. Just working through whatever variation of that is best for your body today. Now, take one more breath there, and when you're ready, come back to fully standing, and then we're just gonna cross this over and move right into eagle. So we're gonna have left leg on top and cross around. Pull that shin into the midline, or take the full-on wrap. Left leg is on top, so the right elbow is gonna be on top. Either bringing the backs of the hands together or taking the full wrap. Your choice based on your practice. Not pushing awkwardly, but just finding a place of ease and yet of challenge. Your best practice rests somewhere in between those places. Lifting the elbows, belly button toward the spine. One more breath. Releasing when you're ready. And then we're gonna step straight back into a wide open A. Hands to the hips and flat back forward. Try not to let those hips fall really far behind you, but instead let the heart just kind of dump open in front of you. And release. Listening again to your body here. We're going to take a good few breaths to stretch here and continue processing with God. Lord, what are you showing me by revealing your presence and your love woven through these ordinary parts of my day? Lord, how are you inviting me to respond to you? And just turn that question over with God. You're going to take ragdoll arms. So if it feels good to you, you can take opposite hand to opposite elbow and just hang. Letting the top of the skull be heavy to the mat. When you're ready, release those ragdoll arms. We're going to walk the hands around to the front and move into a pyramid pose. So the toes are going to go from pointing to the long edge of the mat to the front edge of the mat, both sets of toes. And it might want to pull this back leg in just slightly and find a pyramid pose. So stretching over that front leg. Invitation, if you would like, and only if you'd like, to reverse the ragdoll arms. So on the back, we'll just take the arms up and reach opposite hand to opposite elbow. But even while you do that, feel the back underneath your forearms stretching long. The spine's not rounding necessarily toward the leg, but it's stretching toward the toes. scissoring the legs together while they remain strong and stable. Then release. Two more breaths here. And we'll just step it back into our forward fold. And walk the feet, heel toe, back into chair. And then inhale takes you up, back into the chair, setting those hips nice and far back. Belly button toward the spine as that tailbone just drops slightly. And when you're ready, we're gonna take the twist to, let's go to the right first. So twisting bottom hand, you can either open straight or take the bottom hand into the fist and press it up, or open straight, your preference there. Working to keep those knees in line with one another. Release, take it to the other side. Readjusting as your body invites you to, as your body asks you to. Release into a forward fold for one full cycle of breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release, plant the hands and step or hop back. And then exhale, optional vinyasa through. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. When you're ready, begin to inhale up into a three-legged dog. Flexing the left toes toward the mat, left heel toward the ceiling. And start to notice, what's been your experience of looking into your day? Opening the hip, if that's a helpful part of your practice. Bending through that top knee, taking the ankle and hip circles. Does it feel selfish? Does it feel freeing? Does it feel helpful? Does it feel, do you feel resistant towards slowing down enough to do that? Inhale a heel high. Whatever that is, don't judge it, but just start to notice what your experience of that has been so far. Exhale, pull the knee into the chest. Inhale high. Left knee, left tricep. Inhale it high. Now take to the right shoulder. Inhale it high. Last time, pull that knee into the chest and set it down long. Allowing for one cycle of breath to stretch through that right hip flexor. And then when you're ready, we're gonna set it up into warrior two. Checking in on that back foot, setting through the feet, and then inhaling up into your warrior two. Palms up. Checking in on the hips. Even as I feel it myself, are those hips level? Is one hip tilting a little higher than the other? Just notice and adjust accordingly as you breathe. Forward side angle on your next inhale, bringing that front forearm to the front thigh, reaching either up or up and over the head, sinking the hips low. Rotating around into your low lunge when you're ready. With that little up dog chest, then bring yourself on an inhale into airplane arms. Just a 45-degree angle of the upper body, up and out. Scissoring these hips together, so that means that right hip is gonna push forward, like two headlights pointing straight in front of you, those hip bones. And when you're ready, we're gonna move into that balance on the front leg. So again, taking your preferred variation here. So whether that's just Left hand on the hip into balance, or with the knee bent, you can take the forward fold here, or if that's peace fingers between the toes. Breathing here. So energy out of the crown of the head as you extend, if that's your option. And then with that nice long spine, you can invite a forward fold. As far as your body is willing to go. Finding again that balance between challenge and ease. Remembering to breathe, which is very hard to talk and breathe. So I need to pull back so I can continue to talk to you here. When you're ready, releasing out of your preferred version of that, and then we'll move straight into eagle. So now it's going to be the right leg cross on top. Pull those shins into the midline, option to wrap the toes fully. Now right thighs on top, so it's going to be left elbow on top. Taking either a half wrap or the full wrap here. Elbows inhale up while the shoulders stay down away from the ears, and breathe. Belly button toward the spine. Release, and we'll move into our standing open A from here. So those toes are going to point toward the long edge of your mat, and release forward. And let, again, the top of the skull melt toward the mat. Listening to the body. Taking the hands to the outside of the feet. If that is, or you can even take peace fingers around the big toes and bend through the elbows and use that little bit of leverage to invite some more length through the spine as that head melts toward the mat. When you're ready, releasing the grasp, and we're going to move into pyramid. So heel toeing around, so those both sets of toes are now pointed to the front of the mat, shortening the stance if that is helpful to you, and releasing forward. Breathing here. When you're ready, we'll step your back foot into a forward fold to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Plant the hands on either side of the feet and step back or hop into your high plank. And exhale to chaturanga and cobra or up dog. And then push back into a child's pose. Breathing here. Now, we're going to take some time to look ahead at the rest of the day. Whatever time of day you might be doing this, or maybe if you're doing it at night, maybe some things that you're doing in the morning, just kind of adjusting this to whatever time of day you might be using this and doing your practice. So just looking ahead, what do you have planned? What do you have to do? What do you hope to do? What do you just want to do? and just speak those things to God. And if you start to notice yourself getting caught up in the, oh, goodness gracious, I probably should cut this short so I can hop into that, or just starting to get maybe anxious or stressed out about those things, I'm going to invite you to just notice them with God. So it's a practice of resting with these things in God, because now is not the time for those. Right now we're taking a time of building expectancy with God in those things, expectancy of who our God is in those things to come. So not investing in them other than really investing with God in them. So just start to notice those with God for a moment. Close your eyes and your child's close if that feels comfortable to you. And just speak what comes to mind to God. Now, ask God to build expectancy in you. And just have a conversation with God. How do you hope to see him in these things that lie ahead of you? Perhaps as monotonous or as exciting or nerve-wracking as they might be. How do you hope to see God in them? How do you hope to see his presence with you? Abiding and deeply, intimately dwelling with you in those very things. Just rest your attention on God. Now, again, as always, even at the beginning of class, if you want to continue in stillness, considering this with God, and are just, at least since him inviting you into stillness with him, please take the space to do that. You can pause this and hop back in later, or just let it keep running and join back in with us when you're ready. But if you are ready to just consider talking about this with God and movement, so not just hopping into movement and keeping only our conversation with God in stillness, it'll be a continuation of the conversation with God, even in movement. So if that sounds like an invitation you're ready to dive into, we're just gonna go ahead and flutter the eyes open and roll up through the child's pose. And swing the legs around. Those knees point to the ceiling. Let's sit up tall. And then gently roll onto the back, pulling the knees into the chest. Adjusting on your mat as you might need to. And then take those heels up toward the ceiling and take the arms down by the hips and press the full length of the arms into the mat. And we're just gonna do some pelvic tilts. So as the palms and the arms are pushing into the mat, you can point or flex the feet, that's up to you. We're just gonna inhale and take some little pelvic tilts. So just letting the hips pretty slowly move off the mat. Going slow enough so that momentum isn't what's pulling you up, but strength, but your muscles. Belly button toward the spine. Can you get a little bit higher as you keep going, or are you getting a little bit lower as you get tired, continuing? Or like me, are you tensing too much through your arms? Just listening to the body, doing what you need here. Pull the knees into the chest. And then we're gonna do a little rock and roll up. until we find ourselves in a boat pose. So you can either keep those knees bent or take them straight. That's up to you. Either way, we want to focus on not rounding through the back, but opening through the collarbones and energy out of the crown of the head. So you can keep the hands behind the knees or open them forward, palms up. Invitation to take the arms wherever they need to be. And the heart is going to shine up at a diagonal. Breathing here. Belly button toward the spine. Pull the knees into the chest and take a few more rock and rolls. And from here, we're gonna try to rock and roll back into a forward fold. So if that sounds fun to you, go ahead and we'll make our way there, or just find your way to a forward fold, how you would prefer. When you're ready, we're gonna move through a squat and then take those hips high. Playing around with that as many times as you need to from your forward fold, or just meet us here, no big deal. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Let's reverse our swan dive, flat back, all the way up to the top of the mat. Exhale the hands to prayer, thumbs over the heart. And we're gonna move into dancer pose from here. So right away, let's begin. Let's take the left leg up first. So begin to shift the weight into the right foot and then reach back. So again, you can come to the wall, one of the beauties of being at home. And whether you have, you can take the hand either to the wall, hand to the hip, hand to prayer while we start. And just grab onto either the top of the left foot or the ankle. And then when you're ready, if you're ready, take and extend the right arm overhead. I like to have the palm in, so not forward, my palm is in toward my head. And then begin to kick the back foot into the hand. So it's the tension of this back foot pressing against the hand that brings you up. So invitation to flex the back foot. Trying to tilt forward only as much as necessary. If you fall out, just come right back into it. Finding one place, a steady place to gaze, and just stare straight there. One more breath. And release. Giving your body a minute. And then we'll take it to the other side when you're ready. So shifting the weight in to the left foot. Stand tall. Taking the left hand wherever is helpful to you. And then kicking up your right foot. Grabbing where it just feels nice for your body. And whatever this looks like for you, just begin to kick back. Kicking the back of the foot or the ankle into the hand, listening to the body. Left arm can come up if and when you're ready. And again, if the leg is here, this is excellent. This is a beautiful dancer pose. I mean, this truly is a beautiful dancer pose. We're challenging the balance here and getting a nice hip flexor stretch. And whatever that looks like for you, take it. Challenge yourself. But also maybe the challenge for you today is challenging what success and beauty in the pose is. One more breath. Releasing when you're ready. Give your body a minute. And just roll it out into a forward fold. Bend the knees deeply and just give yourself permission. We're often trying to get a nice long spine here. Just give yourself permission to round through the back here. Doing some just counteracting the nice back bend we just worked hard for. Rounding through the spine. Inhale, halfway look. Release. And then roll it up one vertebrae at a time. So a fun little challenge, we're gonna make it back to the ground. So if you tend to have aches and pains in your knees, we recommend you just make your way to the ground however you would prefer. But if you currently right now are not having any knee problems, we're just gonna try a little fun way to get to the mat. So let's take the right leg over first. So we're gonna just kind of crisscross. Both my toes are pointing forward for the time being, and then stand nice and tall, energy out of the crown of the head. And so we're going to begin to walk out onto the pinky edge sides of the feet. And then those feet begin to walk out slightly. And with trying not to use your hands, that's the challenge here. We're going to try to make our way down to the floor here. So you kind of negotiate. This back foot likes to step in. You kind of come into the side. This right leg on top. So now, whether you took that fun way down with us or just are meeting us here, the left leg is underneath and the right leg is crossing over. You can also try that if you don't want to take the challenge not using your hands. Head to a wall and try that and just really feel how it engages the outsides of the legs through simultaneously stretching and strengthening. And just kind of enjoy that. So when you're ready, we're going to take this left knee is down, the right knee is up. We want to work the right hip toward the mat. And we're going to twist away. So just as we did that same action in our twisted chair, twist away. So my left tricep is just above my knee on my left quad, right quad. And twist open. Letting the heart move to the side. Shine open. Just considering again with God. What ways do you hope to see him and his love woven into the things that are coming next in your day? Release. And we're going to move into cow face. So that is now where it may be hard to see my dark leggings here, but the knees are trying to stack on top of one another. So keeping the feet flexed here. It can be helpful to grab like a block or a blanket or a sweater, just something, whatever you have, and then just stick it underneath and between the legs. Your top knee might be very grateful for that, especially while you practice this pose. We're just going to sit up tall and then exhale forward. Flexing through those feet. Coming up. And then challenge again. Well, if you want to come up and take the challenge on the other side, I'm going to do that here. Or if that was not something that you just felt like was part of your practice today, we're just going to switch this to the other side. So if you're with me here, just unwind a little bit out of your cow face legs. And then be very much engaged on the side, pinky edge sides of your feet. We're going to inhale energy out of the crown of the head. Coming up. And just see if you can cross right over and negotiate this onto the other side. So now it's the right leg that's going to come down first, sitting back on the hips. So right leg is on the bottom, right knee is down, and it's the left knee that's up and moving toward the body. And we're going to twist. So now it's right tricep to the left quad, twisting open. Then release, and then invitation to move into a comfortable variation of cow face for you. Again, if that is grabbing something to put underneath this top leg, please do that. Regardless of what you choose, remembering to flex the feet to protect the knees here. Inhale up, sitting up nice and tall, and then exhale forward. coming up. And now, if you did take that, the fun little challenge, just to even ourselves out. Let's just, one side, as you might see, might be much harder than the other. And release. And then let's just make our way down to the mat to rejoin with anyone else who may not have had that as part of their practice today, and that's okay. And we're just gonna move right into butterfly. So, taking that as you need to get there. So bottoms of the feet are coming together. You can flap the wings a bit to just kind of engage and fire up through the hips. And when you're ready, energy out of the crown of the head. Then we'll exhale forward. So trying to take a nice flat back. Listening to your body. I want to continue as we cool down and stretch out our body here. Just continue with God. How is God inviting you to have his love overflow from you in the form of loving others? So you've got to look at what you have planned or just desire to do in the next little bit. So in what ways is God inviting you to just have that overflow? Perhaps in those things or with an addition of something else. Not as duty, as a have to, but filled with the fact that his presence and love has been with you and will go with you. What's the invitation? Let's talk to God about that. You can massage the feet a little bit here. That feels nice. I wish very much that I was with all of you for my normal class to give you foot and neck and shoulder massages during our Savasana. I miss you greatly and look very much forward to one day when I can give you a foot and neck massage in your Savasana again someday soon. Coming up when you're ready. And now you can go ahead and either rock and roll back into your corpse pose or just make your way into a final resting pose, whatever that would be, or invitation to just take a quick moment to take any other stretch or pose that your body might be asking for or inviting you into. So take a moment for that, and we'll just meet you in your corpse pose. Little invitation before you make your way there. If like me, you stripped off a cozy sweater or something, before you lay down into that corpse pose, maybe grab something. Just again, taking the beauty of being at home, something really cozy. And we're focusing in on God's presence, kind of enveloping the happenings of your day and his love being woven in. It can be a really sweet thing to just kind of let the body take some physical sense of that as we're cooling down, and maybe laying down on a mat like mine that might feel a little cool to the touch. So, option for that there. So again, how is God inviting you to love others with him going forward? Not in your own ability, but in his ability because of his presence with you. Perhaps that's not a question you want to consider during the Savasana. Perhaps it's something to carry on a conversation with God as you move forward into these parts of your day as we wrap up our class. But let's just take the next few minutes of our Savasana to just be with the God who is present with you. That he's, whether you sense it or not, that he is always present with you, that he has promised that, and so it is sure. Just spend the next few minutes just being with God and the beauty of that. So close the eyes and I'll see you in a few minutes. Now, if you want to continue in this place of stillness and quiet, just being with God, please continue here. But if you're ready to bring some movement back to the body, you can begin by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Just gently letting your movements become larger until you roll over onto your right side, using your right bicep as a pillow. And then with ease, use your hands and your forearms to push yourself up into a seated position at the top of your mat. Inhaling the arms overhead, and exhale your hands to prayer, thumbs over the heart. Lord, I'm reminded, even just as we wrap up this time of contemplative and stillness and prayer, that as we've fought for faith and hope and love, fought for and just simply pursued you in them, Lord, that as we get up, you always say that these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. So, Lord, as we've come in faith, acknowledging that your presence and your love are ever with us, and have looked forward in hope and expectancy and backward of how that is true and how that will be true, Lord, I ask that you would stir up in us an adoration for you, a love for you, as the God who has certainly loved us first and will continue to, until the day that we see you face to face and forevermore. You are good to us, Lord. We thank you. In your name we pray. Amen. Well, thank you guys so much for taking this time to move with me today, to flow and to meditate, and for going on this perhaps what is a new journey for you, or maybe a familiar old thing, of just practicing an examen, contemplative prayer over this last hour. So just want to let you know that I'll be back on Thursday next week at live on Zoom. And you can find the details of that on my website at reviveyogastudio.com. And again, here on Saturday at 1:30 Eastern. So Eastern. Out of my time zone there. Weird things quarantine does to you. And I'll also be continuing to post these recordings. So whether you join me live or on recording later, I just really hope we have the opportunity to flow and move together again soon. I look forward to that with you. And I also wanted to let you know that I run my classes via donation. So while we are not able to meet in person, I'm really glad that I can offer that for you. There are two ways to do that. There is a GoFundMe on my website, again, reviveyogastudio.com, or through Venmo. My username is Megan Holy Yoga. Either of those is great. And however, if you're not able to donate, no worries. Please continue to come to class and to show up and meditate and move with us, and just maybe pray and just chat with God a bit some about how he might be inviting you to be generous with the resources and the time, the prayer, the investment of energy you have to share that generously with the people in your life instead. And just keep coming around. This is for you, and I want you to take this resource, whether that's something you are able to do right now or not. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys again soon, and I would love to hear perhaps maybe some of the things that God has shown, like the way he showed you some stuff that was going on in your day, or some of the expectancy that he's been building, even as the hopefulness and that he's building for your day to come. Share some of that with me. I would love to know and just be able to praise God with you in that, or maybe be able to pray with you in some of the questions and ponderings you have. So reach out. I'm around and would love to share in that with you. So thank you guys. I will see you again soon and hope to hear from you.